Hi, it's Robert Mendelson, Fractional CMO here in beautiful Montreal, welcoming you to another episode of the Fractional Pros Canada podcast. We're part of Fractional Pros Canada, the home for Canada's fractional community, and you can find us on Facebook. We bring you conversations about everything fractional that matters for fractional executives and businesses from coast to coast. Think of this as your go-to spot for real talk, practical wisdom, and strategies you can actually use, all without the corporate fluff and with plenty of Canadian content. Whether you're a fractional pro or a business in our great country of Canada and beyond, this conversation is for you. Grab your espresso and let's dive in. Welcome to the Fractional Pros Canada podcast. I'm your host and fractional CMO, Robert Mendelson, here in beautiful Montreal. And joining us from just down the street in beautiful Victoria, BC, once again is Robert Cooper. Robert is a full-time web marketer since 25 years ago, founded his first agency in 2007, and his agency group is a Google Premier Partner, which means top 3% of Google agencies as ranked by Google. He's at the forefront of AI for marketing and regularly speaks on the topic, including apparently here on this podcast. This episode is sponsored by fractionalproscanada.ca, the home of Canada's fractional executive community, the place where over 1,500 Canadian fractional executives gather to connect, share, learn, and refer. Join us and learn more at fractionalproscanada.ca. Robert, welcome back to the pod.
Oh, glad to be here.
You know, we don't do a lot of really tactical episodes, but I feel like this is one area, the area of online search, that is ubiquitous and touches everybody's lives, whether somebody is a consumer who shops online or looks online for some kind of information, does some kind of search, or for businesses who want to get found in those searches, or for fractional marketers like myself who want to help my clients get found as much as possible, no matter what kind of search is being done. And so that's why I love having you on and checking in every few months to see what is the latest and what's going on. So let's dive back down into that online search rabbit hole. And first of all, in the last 6 months, we were speculating a little bit. It was still kind of early days. I mean, the half-life of online search is very, very short. So 6 months ago, we were starting to learn and starting to see what's going on. Today, we have a lot more data than we did before. Anything that you can recall that you were predicting would happen 6 or so months ago that turned out to be, let's not focus on the right, let's focus on the wrong. Any direction you're seeing it going in that it is not going in or has not gone?
Yeah, there's two things that come to mind. One is that it's happening more slowly than I would have expected. I do hear from clients they're really excited because they won new work through an AI search, but that's still the exception. I mean, that's what we do every single day for our regular clients with Google. And it's still notable when somebody gets one through AI. So it's not, and that's not to understate the importance of the top of funnel research element, but in short, it's just certainly not driving a huge volume of traffic, although that's not to say it's not having an effect. And that's where I see the other thing that I didn't necessarily anticipate was that the Google AI snippets are now appearing in something like 60% of searches. And this is really interesting because it is good for Google. They're not just taking this all lying down and giving up all their business and search to chat.
Sorry about that. My phone heard you say Google and started responding.
That's how it is, isn't it? That's funny. Yeah, well, that was a positive comment, Google, if you're listening, that they're not giving up. And so there's definitely downward trend lines in SEO because of all these zero-click searches, folks doing a lot of research and then folks seeing an answer in the, whether it's in ChatGPT or again, the Google AI snippets that are appearing so often now. And what's really interesting that kind of cracks me up is for the longest time, oh, when is ChatGPT gonna have advertising in their search, and what's going to happen? And folks were I actually know a fellow who works at senior marketing at Walmart in the States, and they did one of the early ChatGPT $100,000 buy-ins, and were extremely disappointed. But actually, I probably shouldn't say that live on air. I don't know if that's confidential or not, so let's keep that quiet.
All right, that's just between us.
But so that said, I think his words were that they felt like ChatGPT should have paid them to show them how advertising should work. But that's a separate thing. But the whole reason I got off in the weeds around that is just that Google's showing AI results in like 60% of searches, and it's got ads wrapped all around it. So that there already is ads in AI in one of the biggest places that it shows up. And what's really kind of exciting for me, as you know, our biggest service area is Google Ads. And so thumbs up, it looks like they're remaining relevant for some more years.
Yeah.
And in fact, that the importance might even increase the way things are right now. And yeah, and ironically, I think it has more to do with the economy than AI, but ironically, we've been seeing click costs come down, which is interesting.
Wow.
So it, yeah, makes for an interesting time anyhow.
So, I mean, that's really interesting that things have not accelerated as fast as you thought they would towards AI search, and that we're seeing this mix of AI results in the organic Google search results. And so there's more of a blending going on. All this leaves a big dilemma for marketers and for businesses as far as where to spend the ad budget. Is it AI search that they should be advertising in? Should they be spending money on optimizing for AI search? Should they be spending money optimizing for good old organic Google search? Should they be spending money on Google paid advertising? So if I have let's call it $100 budget, how do I split that up?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, Google search is still critically important for the organic, but and we work with a mix of local and sort of national clients. So it's kind of interesting for the local ones. There's no typical SEO results until kind of a couple of scrolls down the page. By the time you get past the local service ads, the regular sponsored Google ads, the map and the 3-pack, and then you're well down the page. So in our case, the people that we recommend to invest are those that have a whole lot of online authority but have underinvested in the past in SEO. So maybe they've got the authority to rank, but they're not ranking. We regularly tell people that are just getting going that, get the best practices in place, but competing in SEO is just not something they want to do right now. And also with the AI search, it's really interesting too, because I a lot of power there. Most of the potential has yet to come. And again, working through our two different companies with a mix of small local businesses and the national ones, the small local one is a tough investment right now because it will be worth a lot, but it's not going to change anybody's 2026. You can invest a ton of time and effort and energy into doing a pure optimization effort, and that's like, hopefully it pans out in 2027, 2028, but there's just not enough traffic yet to make it make sense to spend a lot of money. Or maybe I should put that another way. The value may be there, but it is more or less invisible because there are still no fantastic tracking tools around all that no-click research that's being done. So folks researching using ChatGPT for local services, if they never click through, it never gets attributed to that. So it's yeah, an interesting challenge.
So I want to dive into the measurement, but just before we do, the other dilemma that I see businesses having is if we do want to get, make some kind of investment to get found more in the AI, using AI as search, there's three and many more, but let's call it three main choices, right? You got the Google, the Anthropic, and the Chat GPTs. Do all of them work in the same kind of way as far as their algorithms? If I optimize my website for one, am I optimizing for all three? Or are there different things I need to do to optimize to get as high as I can in the results for each one of those separately? Or do we
There's
even
going to be
know?
some subtle differences, but more or less you're doing the same. And I guess to that last point, the yeah, for those folks making a decision, the ones for whom it really makes sense are the people that want to be thought leaders in their communities or environments because the AI loves that. So if you're getting sort of the upside of becoming a known thought leader in your market with the double whammy of AI loving that's a situation where it's definitely gonna make sense. And sorry for straying way off topic there, but
Oh, well, that's important. So does that mean that if I am a company, I'm a business, and I'm selling fill-in product or service here, that I should, as the founder or the face of the company, I should turn myself into a thought leader. So I should be out there putting out content personally, which will draw traffic, to attract the AI bots to show me in the search results. And even though somebody may be searching for my product, I'll be showing up there, and that'll eventually lead them to the product, but I'll be showing up there as a thought leader. Is that what the strategy is?
uh yes, with the minor caveat that it's not a checking the boxes exercise. I mean, as a marketing agency, it's kind of crazy how many folks that we get potential clients that kind of just want to check the boxes and like do this. And well, it's kind of like, well, no, you kind of have to be it. Not it's not just doing it; it's being it. So like if so you kind of have to, and the thought leadership strategy doesn't really work for those that aren't passionate about it. So if you're like, say, a landscaper in Ottawa, um, if you're like, okay, well, I'm going to start presenting the best information on how people can preserve their lawns and gardens in our sort of hot summer climate that goes with our cold winters, and start writing great, helpful content for that market, and you're excited about it, that's going to do huge things with your customer base. People will appreciate that. It's the fastest way to earn trust in business is to deliver value at no charge. And there's a quote from one of the books around thought leadership that mentions that as an educator you have special privileges. Totally true. So if the idea of becoming that educator excites somebody, then yes, absolutely they should publish content and become that thought leader, and the payoff will be significant in AI as well, because that's what it's looking for is the authority. And there's authoritative people and authoritative companies, and the companies are authoritative mostly because of the people in them, which sort of brings to a separate note of things like about pages and author pages become hugely more important than they used to. The other thing too is like some years ago when it was purely SEO, I would have told you, oh well, if the CEO doesn't want to be or the owner isn't doesn't want to be bothered with the thought leadership stuff, well, it's just you could appoint someone or even create a persona for the company online. But these days, a persona as a thought leader or somebody else's name that's not a real person writing articles and posts and doing this isn't going to work because AI is going to know that they're not a real person. And ironically, AI loves authentic people with original information to be cited.
That is so ironic. AI is prioritizing humans, actual human content over some generic persona. That's really interesting. It's unexpected directions that this whole thing is going in, and to that point, it's making, of course, in-person gatherings and in-person events seem to be on the rise and having more value for many reasons because of AI as well. So it's interesting to see that dynamic throughout our whole society on all levels, permeating and bringing humans more together than ever, it seems, as a result of AI, which is the complete irony.
Yeah, we'll be hunkering down together against the billionaire overlords and the
Well,
AI robots.
yeah, not that we have anything against the billionaire overlords who are listening to the podcast. We love you, and we would love to be in the bunker with you. In the last 30 to 60 days, and we're recording this in the middle of May, so who knows how much might have changed by the time this airs. Anything you're seeing in particular that's moving the needle that is really, worth focusing on right now as far as efforts to get found more in any kind of search?
Oh, that's a good one. And again, I think nationally, for non-local search, non-local specific search, getting all the authority signals in place is huge. I mean, that hasn't really changed over this time, but it's remarkable how, like, we have an enterprise client that we're trying to, they're so highly ranked in SEO, but they don't have any of kind of the authority signals in place, and it's getting that in place would make a huge difference. Otherwise, locally, I yeah, stuff like the Google Business Profile is more important than ever. There is a lot. So in the Google ecosystem, on a local level, it's the single most important thing in search. And then also, Claude and ChatGPT are also leveraging a whole lot of the information that comes out of the Google Business Profile. So that would be, the single biggest kind of generic tip for a local company would be, yeah, getting that perfect.
It's fascinating how the Google Business Profile has been around forever, and it's been under the radar for a lot of businesses, especially local businesses, who just don't, first of all, may not even know it exists, and second of all, don't take the time to optimize it, which isn't hard to do. So it's kind of like back to basics. The fundamentals don't change. You still need that basic foundational layer there to have success, no matter what, which makes sense.
Yep, absolutely.
So back to measurement. So, if I'm a fractional CMO, I bring in Robert to help with optimizing for AEO. How do I prove ROI to my client? How do I show them that this investment is actually working when measurement is still something that is a little bit elusive?
Well, to be honest, it's hard right now. I don't. I mean, I've seen a couple of case studies that I think were made up about AI ROI at the moment, but it's like looking at. So what we look at is like things like, are we moving the needle in Google Analytics? Because you can track down the AI, comes in as a referral source, so it's easy enough to make a filter and check out what's happening in terms of traffic. So moving the needle there is the single biggest indicator. We like there are a ton of services coming out that purport to show where you're ranking in AI search, but I have yet to, and I'd love to be contradicted, but I've stated in lots of rooms with lots of people that none of them are working to a level that I would spend the money on them, because most of them are fairly expensive. And for me, the big thing that conceptually I still try to wrap my head around is just that if you've used AI for more than 5 minutes, it knows you. And so, unlike and Google, to be fair, Google has lots of signals as well for Google search, but AI is like 100 times. So it knows, for instance, joking about the landscaping stuff, um, it knows that I live in a very shady area of Victoria, British Columbia. And so the answer it's going to give me about sort of what to do or how to approach it is just so different than what it's going to give for somebody else. It's neighborhood specific, it's weather dependent, it's personal preference. It knows that, oh my gosh, like ChatGPT, yeah, knows all about me physically. Like I have deep, and it's funny because I use Claude more for technical stuff, ChatGPT more for lifestyle stuff. But ChatGPT knows everything about my fitness routine, my weight, my health concerns. Like there's just no chance that myself and someone else are going to have a website show up in the same rank. Like, so I mean, in theory, uh, these tools can track where somebody would show up in a clean install of one of these things, but I just don't see what the value in that is. So I'm sure there will be tools that arrive. If anybody knows one, would love to hear about it.
Wow. So, I mean, that's how far away we are. I mean, I remember back in the day when I had my e-commerce store back in 2005, we wanted to know where were we in SEO. It was just a matter of open an incognito tab, tell Google what geography we wanted to think we're in, put in our search terms, and there'd be a few of us in the office doing the same search at the same time, using that same method, and more or less the results would line up. No, we're not. I got us at number 8. I got us at number 7, but it was pretty close, and we had a general idea. And now that's just impossible to do because of what you said. It's just AI knows so much about us. It's going to personalize the results with all those different influencing factors. So I wonder who is going to figure out how to measure this kind of stuff properly.
Yeah, it'll happen, I guess. Yeah, I think more realistically, there will be something that comes along that serves as a good proxy. That hey, this if this tool shows you in this position, that's roughly where you are. But we'll see. I mean, unlike you said, as you mentioned, now there's yeah, tools like Google Search Console that will tell you kind of exactly where you showed up in your market, or the any of the research tools like Moz or Ahrefs or any of them. Um, they're going to be able to show you where you rank in search, but there's just I don't think. Well, maybe we'll get to that level of granularity at some point, but yeah, I haven't wrapped my head around it yet, which clearly though doesn't mean it won't happen.
Surely there are thousands, if not millions, of agents, AI agents, working on this very problem as we speak. No doubt. No doubt. So we talked a little bit about, paying for appearing in AI search results. Do you see a future where that is going to be something that will be, as we say, rentable? The French word is in my head, profitable. That will actually make money, unlike the example we gave before, where a client spends a bunch of money on it and it doesn't really do anything. Do you see a future where eventually brands will be paying Perplexity, Google, fill in the blank with your favorite LLM to be the recommended product or service in an AI answer?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it probably already is for certain industries. I think it's just hard to measure. Like, oh my gosh, if you've traveled somewhere, like I did an example for a presentation, gosh, over a year ago, um, where I created even just a query of like, oh, give me some great ideas. And I tried it for Victoria, knowing that I would know if the answers were right or not. I just said, oh, give me a sample itinerary for a couple visiting Victoria from Calgary who is interested in the outdoors, quite active, and likes to walk or pedal by choice. And the itinerary it sent back was like, oh my God, is that ever good? Like I would you would have to know somebody that lived in the city to get that good an itinerary. I mean, the only downside, it was slightly ambitious. I was kind of like, I think you'd have to be almost superhuman to pack all that into 2 days. But so I think like examples like that, like travel would be one category where I think attractions, if places that are spending the resources, because it's not necessarily just money, but spending the time and resources and possibly money to be doing well in AI, it probably is profitable. They just there's no specific way of measuring it. It's kind of almost like a step back in time, when the bad old days of marketing, when you know marketers just made you look better, and that somehow was magically going to turn into something. Except with AI, it really is happening. Just again, the knowing and measuring is a different thing.
I get pushback sometimes from CEOs, founders who, I recommend, you guys, we need to put together some good content marketing that's going to move the needle in some respect. And the pushback is like, well, why should I be spending, whatever the dollar amount is to generate that content when Google is just going to come along, scrape it, summarize it, steal my traffic, and, am I really doing this for a good reason, or am I just, feeding the machine and not getting any benefit out of it? What do you say to that?
Um, yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount of truth in that, and not specifically to the sort of work that you'd be doing, but the whole content marketing. It was like the post SEO, post social, like then content marketing rolled in, and again, it's you get. And first we had sort of low cost offshore content that was passable, but it worked for SEO, but nobody's gonna read it. So I actually hate the whole idea of content marketing as like, oh, here's a thing, we'll publish 2 posts a month. I mean, just the companies that waste people's money just doing that because, oh yes, we need to have this publishing schedule, and it's something that's driven by a publishing schedule versus being driven by wanting to educate your audience. It's just like there's huge. So that's where I would never recommend, again, a content strategy, because they never. I shouldn't say we did have one company that absolutely was not passionate about it, that we pushed at and pushed the content marketing, not to them, but they wanted to do it, and we engaged with them and helped support that and optimize it, and they did come to win their niche. But other than that, I think content marketing without that idea of wanting to be an educator and thought leader, just makes no sense to me. So I think, and that's where in chatting with that CEO myself, I say, well, tell me your ideal audience, and then, okay, well, how much value would there be if that ideal audience came to see you as the absolute expert on blank, and blank being sort of their work area or something very adjacent and relevant? And the answer is like always like, oh, well, that would be amazing. And that, interestingly, other than, having some expertise, which everybody has to have expertise if they're working successfully in a niche or an area, other than sort of having that expertise and doing the work to show it, like it always works if you do it strategically, which can't be said about everything. But the thought leadership, I've never seen it fail because the principles didn't work. I have seen it fail because people don't keep up with it or don't want to do it. But yeah, sorry, this
I
sounds like
mean,
a commercial for thought leadership or something. But
it does, but I mean, I think it's real too. It's real too. Like you said before, don't just do it, be it. And that's,
yeah, and it's what was that book? They Ask, You Answer, which was about the fellow who built, I think it was fiberglass pools, and he built the best website resource and had honest comparisons about fiberglass compared to concrete, compared to whatever other materials are used, and was painfully honest, and became and it might not have been fiberglass, but it was pools definitely, and that great book to read. Although the title almost says everything about it, is whatever your market is asking, you be the trusted source to answer it. And he's like, yeah, basically the top resource for pools worldwide, or at least was when he wrote this book. Gosh, I hate to say it, but probably 10 years ago.
Well, good advice is it never goes out of style. It doesn't have an expiration date.
Yeah, as an introvert in the 90s with a digital print shop, an introvert responsible for sales, we used to do talks. We used to prepare these booklets in my digital print shop of like how to look good in print, how to prepare your files for successful output back when that was a thing. And kind of that was appreciated and really helped us grow back then. I mean, that was, I hate to say it out loud, but pre-internet,
Whoa.
which kind of dates me. But yeah, it's not, this thought leadership thing is not an internet thing. It's just a wanting to educate your market and reap the benefits that go along with being that educator.
The fundamentals don't change. AI overviews, is your sense that these are preventing searchers from clicking through to the source of the information that they were looking for, where they're just reading the AI overview rather, that is presented to them in the search results instead of clicking through to the site, which they would have done before they had the overview to go and get all the info? Is that something that you're seeing is having an effect on click-through rates?
Absolutely. And well, it's so funny. It's yeah, I'm just trying to process that a little bit because we're not seeing our ads traffic change dramatically in terms of click-through rates or but the organic these days, well, I mean, the trend for organic is on a downhill slope. So right now, ironically, with clients where we're keeping them steady, that's actually a win, which would not have been previously. But yeah, I mean, I know if the answer's there, because I mean, as a searcher, it's wonderful if you could recognize that they've provided a great answer that probably would have taken 3 or 4 clicks to get to. So, I mean, in a sense, it is a great service. It does seem at times almost unfair to the websites providing the content. Um, I mean, they'll be cited, but they're not being cited or featured in a manner that is pushing further discovery. Like you can, you can do more, you can do more digging with the website, but yeah, I think in a, it's not being pushed in the medium.
I would think that somebody who's just searching for some kind of information, the AI overview is going to pretty much fulfill that search need. They're not going to click anywhere. But somebody who's shopping for something specific, who may be at that top of funnel, and they start the search looking for information, but as they start going down the funnel and they actually want to start looking at prices and compare products, I would think that those people are still going to be clicking through to the various source sites to get more granular. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's generally what we're seeing, and I mean that's how I behave personally. Is again, it's that I think you nailed it with the top of funnel research, um, which then leads to often a Google search. I mean, I think, and we are seeing that the folks that reach that level of becoming brand aware in AI seems to be increasing, and so for companies, brand search campaigns for a lot of companies are becoming even more important because if you sort of win the customer or win consideration at the top of funnel, and then they move to the mid funnel or bottom funnel and search you, and somebody else is sort of hijacking your results. That's not a good situation.
If I'm auditing a fractional CMO and I'm auditing a new client today for technical SEO elements that are absolutely mandatory and must do's just to get the AI to read the site properly. We talked about the thought leadership being something that is attractive to the AI bots who are scanning the site. Is there anything else that must be done or should be done to get the site AI search indexable ready?
Well, there's two notable things that I've seen. One is anecdotally, and the other is seen it with my own eyes. And the anecdotal one is site speed. Apparently, AI is impatient, and if your site, whereas in Google, I think of industries like auto dealers that we've worked with. Their sites are all slow. And so it's kind of like, well, your site basically just has to outperform your competitors' sites. And it can still be slow as long as it's faster than the other. What is that thing of not having to be not having to run faster than the bear, just having to be able to run faster than who you're hiking with?
Yes, same thing came to mind to me as well when
uh,
you said that.
But so there's that, and then the other one, there's a whole lot of folks for very good reasons that do their DNS through Cloudflare. Cloudflare has a lot of features around turning off bot traffic, and we recently found an enterprise. I've seen two or three of these now, but the worst example was one of our enterprise clients would not allow any bot, like any of the chat GPT stuff. So they were invisible in chat GPT. You couldn't, like, they basically didn't exist to chat GPT because their bot filtering traffic was keeping chat GPT from looking at the website.
And why would somebody want to do that? Or was that not intentional?
Well, it's because of, again, you're talking about the thousands of agents out there trying to do, like, we've gotten to a point where I don't know what percentage of the world's website traffic is bots, but we have clients that we see where they have more bot traffic than they do human traffic. The just the number of bots is just absolutely ridiculous. And then things like Google Ads, and of course the AdSense, the display network, where websites sign up for this AdSense program with Google, and they sell off all their excess advertising inventory to Google. Um, I mean, there's whole industries sprung up around building bots that don't do anything but disguise themselves as not bots and click on ads. And then they've gotten so smart that they will now click on an ad on the display network, carry on to the website, and actually click through multiple pages so they look like they're an engaged visitor. So it looks like it's good traffic coming from these things. And then they'll even fill out forms now so that it looks like somebody got a lead from this ad. So it's crazy. Like yeah, sorry, that's my long-winded answer about why somebody would want to cut out bots. Um, and
And
they slow sites down if there's too many of them.
on the flip side, there are good bots. And in the case of good bots, is there anything that a site owner should be doing to optimize the site for those good bots?
So there's been, and I want to share, I'm not an expert on these, but there's been several standards coming out around feeds for AI. Um, Historically, and I think there is one new one that may be starting to be used, but so that's again an area that I'm not up to the minute on. But so things like if you are an e-commerce company, having your Google Merchant feed working properly and available is huge. That would definitely carry over into like Gemini and the Google snippets. So that was one of the first feeds that was known as being somewhat important. And again, this is some research I'll have to go do for the next time someone asks this question, but there are some emerging feed structures that theoretically are going to allow AI just to hook up and pull out all the information they want.
Predictions for 6 months from now, what we'll be talking about, what we'll be seeing?
No, I mean, I think the market will still be moving slowly after what I've seen. Going back to when ChatGPT launched their public search on their free version back towards the end of 2024, when I saw that and tried it, I was like, oh my God, this like we got to have everything sorted out. We immediately got to work on having an AI search offering because I was convinced that this was so good and so logical. Everyone would just go to it. I think what we're seeing is the market is taking much longer than I might have guessed. But that said, there'll be lots of great advances in the technology. Maybe there will be a measurement tool that I can get behind.
All right. Well, we'll check in with you again in 6 months and and see if you're right. We'll start perhaps holding you accountable to these predictions just to make it a little bit more fun.
There we go.
All right, Rob, you know the routine. Final question. Put one message on a billboard for millions of fractionals and business leaders to read as they drive by it on the highway of life every day. What would that one message be that you'd put on that billboard?
Honest answers, maybe. That's just that with where we're coming to that's where we shine with the other agencies and CMOs we work with is just providing transparent, honest answers about where things stand with clients and potential clients, so that folks can kind of take that to the bank. That might mean there might not be work for us, but that's fine. As you can tell by the gray hair, I've been at this for a long time, and being transparent has worked great for us. My blood pressure was 120/70 this morning. Life is good. So yeah, we don't mess things up by presenting anything other than kind of transparent insights on where we see things.
All right. Honest answers it is. And by the way, nothing wrong with gray hair. I personally will take any colored hair I could possibly get. So, all right, Rob, thank you again for joining us here with the update on the Fractional Pros Canada podcast.
All right. Well, thanks very much. That was a lot of fun.
That's a wrap on another episode of the Fractional Pros Canada podcast. If you're a fractional professional based in Canada, we'd love to have you join us in the Fractional Pros Canada Facebook group, the home for Canada's fractional community. It's where Canadian fractional executives connect, share insights, and help each other succeed. Until next time, I'm Robert Mendelson, Fractional CMO. May your impact be full-time, even if your hours are fractional.